weeks ago, we set out to make a documentary with one goal in mind, to find out if people do one or two spaces after each sentence.
Vincent Dillon here came to me with the idea about 3 weeks ago, and at first I couldn't get over how ridiculous it seemed. But they dragged me into it, and as we were filming, I began to realize that there was nothing ridiculous about what was going on. It was some of the most horrifying things that I've ever seen, some of the most horrifying things that I ever will see, and I'm just speechless, honestly. That's all I can really say.
It really all began... It all began because of a simple argument that happened one day at Nick Roberts' house.
Dylan saw that that there were, I don't know, he saw that there were two spaces between the sentences, and then he just like went on this whole thing about how can you use two spaces, that's not right, and all that crap. And then
Joe, why do you have an extra space after each sentence?
Because that's how you do it.
What are you talking about? You put two spaces.
What do you mean an
after
extra
sentence?
space?
He has two spaces. Look, he has two spaces after every sentence.
Well, first of all, two spaces.
Okay.
Second of all, I have no second thing.
Like after each sentence, there's an extra space.
There's two spaces.
That's not an extra space, that's how you type.
There's two spaces.
What do you mean that's how you type?
That's how you type. When you finish a sentence, you do two spaces. You're supposed
No, you period, one space. What are you talking about?
and then we got into this him and Joe got into this huge argument, and I had never heard of this one space thing that Dylan uses, but I was just like, okay, I guess, it doesn't really matter.
If you go to the MLA website, it says on there, two spaces after each sentence. Like, that's the proper format for doing it. I don't know what his problem was. It says two spaces after you end each sentence, Dylan.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Dude,
that's the right way
this
to
is
do
bullshit.
it.
I've never heard of
No,
this
it's not.
in
It's
my
the right
entire
way.
life.
See?
It doesn't matter. I thought it was really stupid because, like, Joe, Dylan, he was an idiot for just bringing this thing up because it's a dumb argument. I mean, do you agree with me? Is it a dumb argument?
I do agree with you.
Okay, well, see, and then Joe, he just went into this whole thing about how, two spaces is the only way you can do it. He was ripping up our lab, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yo, look, some of these papers have one space, some of them have two.
Rule. Okay, well,
I don't believe you.
This one's wrong.
Hey, why are you being so aggressive,
You just
man?
ripped up the lab.
That's when things started to get a little out of hand, and there was some fighting going on that I regret now, and I think he does too.
I'm just telling you, I've been doing it this way my entire life, and you're just telling me a bunch of bullshit.
I'm not telling you
any
bullshit. You've been wrong your whole life. How you like
God
that?
damn it, you know what?
Get out of here. Yeah, that's right.
I'm going out here, I'm going to ask other people what they think, and I bet you that most people say one space, because your logic is just retarded, alright?
Oh yeah, I looked at the actual rules. That's retarded. That's real retarded.
And so, yeah, that's how it went down, basically.
Do you think this could possibly cause more tension in the future?
Between Joe and Dylan?
Just between people who might argue over it, once they realize...
Based on what you saw.
Once they realize this is a debate.
If two space people are like Joe and one space people are like Dylan, then yeah, probably, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Excuse me, can we ask you a few questions?
Fuck no.
Well...
Alright, fine, ask.
Okay, when you're typing an essay, do you do one or two spaces after a sentence?
I do one. I just use two spaces.
Usually I do two because I hate writing.
When you're typing an essay...
When I'm personally typing an essay.
Yes. Do you do one or two spaces after a sentence?
One, absolutely. I prefer two, actually.
I use one space after each question. Wow. See, this is why I can't be interviewed. I couldn't even make a good answer.
I use one space.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
One space.
And you've been doing that your whole life?
Indeed.
Do you know that a lot of people use 2 spaces?
No.
Well, what do you think of that? Do you think
Can you
it's
talk
stupid?
more?
dumb.
Can you stop giving one-word answers?
Well, I use as many spaces as I can. I have to bullshit the essay.
What do you mean after each sentence? Every sentence in the essay?
Yes, after each sentence.
Like before the period?
No, after the period.
Why would you do that? Why would you put any space after the period?
In general, I tend to do 2, but if I'm feeling lazy, I'll do 1.
You don't think it's like, I don't know, just a waste of space or anything?
Not really, especially if it makes typing your work shorter.
Okay.
I think doing 2 is just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so what do you think of people who do 2 spaces?
I think they're just a bunch of jerks that can't write a real essay, so they have to make it longer.
Alright, thank you.
I think that's pretty BS, to be honest. Because, I mean, like, it might not take up that much more space, but, I mean, it's just unnecessary. There's no point. It's just ridiculous.
I don't get it. What's the point? What does that accomplish? Tell me that. Tell me right now. What does 2 spaces accomplish?
Most of the time I'm just copying and pasting stuff from the internet anyways, but I'll throw in a couple spaces to add more bullcrap to it so I can get like a nice 3-page paper. That's what I'm doing with my research paper right now.
So you've heard of people doing 1 space before?
Yes. Not often. Tends to be old people kind of do that sometimes. People who are used to those typewriters.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, pretty much 1 spacers, they're a little uptight. I mean, but they can be okay, you know. Usually they know what they're doing.
Who's over there, Terry?
We told you that the majority of people we interview with that.
So, staff people, so Emily, so we'll say...
I'd probably say that you've been spending too much time at the Natural History Museum. Who have you been interviewing? The people at the Meadowbanks retirement home?
This is serious right now.
Because you're a slacker.
Overachieving punk is what you are. Jackass 2.
It's 1, that's the only answer.
2 is the best.
It's 2.
Alright, Jeff, shut your punk face.
You guys working out?
Shut
jealous because my beard is better than
Jeff, your beard looks like something I shaved off my ass.
Why?
Single spacer.
Can I go over here and punch him now?
Want to know how to type an essay on a computer? Here's how you do it. Here's how many spaces you need. Here's how many spacemans. It's the same thing. Here's how many. 13. Yeah, 13, man. Yeah, my guy's right. You need 13, and I've typed 100 essays already, and I got A+.